intermediate general chapter stems from the general chapter, which is a gathering of the leadership of Augustinians from around the world once every 6 years to help chart the course under the guidance of the Holy Spirit for the direction of the order.
And at the halfway point, at the 3-year mark, we travel to different parts of the order, where we're present in the order, to kind of review how are we doing, kind of taking our temperature, making sure we've at least begun to address some of the issues that we've decided upon at the ordinary general chapter.
We have a general chapter every 6 years, and at that point we elect our general council, prior general, and so forth. General chapter is always in Rome, and the intermediate general chapter is never in Rome. And the idea is to have it at places from around the world, because we're an order that's around the world.
To come together and to make some decision about the future for the order of St. Augustine in the world, not only in one country, but in the whole world.
Why we have actually come together here in San Diego as the heads of the different provinces of the order all over the world is to look at the determinations that we arrived at the 2019 general chapter and see how far we have gone. It's like an assessment of what we are doing.
So for this intermediate general chapter, we're here in beautiful San Diego. We're marking the 100th anniversary of the presence of the Augustinians in California this year. And the prior provincial, Father Gary Sanders, invited, through a conversation with our prior general, Father Alejandro, invited the order to come and to celebrate this centennial anniversary and also to be the host for the intermediate general chapter.
I'm very grateful that San Diego was chosen for this intermediate general chapter. It's a beautiful place. As you can imagine, it could be held in many of our provinces around the world. It's an opportunity for a province to host, to gather us, to help us get to know each other better. The setting could not be any more beautiful. We're very grateful to the province of California for this setting, for their hospitality, the sunshine, the weather, and really the people. There's an interesting kind of chill vibe about the people of San Diego, and it's been wonderful to be around them.
One of the main themes of our intermediate general chapter this time is renewal within the order. That we know that Pope Francis has been calling all of us as church to review what we do, why we do it, where we do it. And as an order, we're also participating in that. At the same time, the Universal Church has asked us to participate in what they call the synodality, the movement of walking together based on 3 basic pillars, that of communion, of participation, and mission. And so we're trying to, along with renewing ourselves, recognizing how our next steps are going to be in a synodal way, walking together with our sisters and brothers with whom we serve.
How do we actually do the task of being Augustinians, not just for ourselves, but for the world beyond us? Our vows are essentially about witnessing to the world the values we think the world should have. And so we have to keep saying, now where's the world? Where are we? And how do we actually undertake this mission to be Eucharist, or the sign of community for the world?
The issue of our Augustinian charism, how to make it more effective, especially in our own changing times. And also the emphasis on community, to see how we encourage friars, brothers, to be more involved and committed to the whole idea of community.
People come together to this intermediate general chapter with many hopes, and that is to really look at how we do our way of life, our spiritual life. The word that seems to be coming up a lot these days is collaboration. How can we work together? How can we learn from one another? We share many of the same problems. We share many of the same burdens. And to, as St. Augustine would say, remember that each of us strengthens all of us. To maybe shake off some of our sense of independence.
Well, here in the general chapter, I think that we are doing our best for the collaboration, to be together in the order. Not we are trying to do our best against, as we call, provincialism. That each province is not province without another province. So we have to be a province with the other province. We have to be order with the other province.
The sense of community here is such that I don't miss the sense of community I feel at home, because I find the same structure, the same sense of community here. And the beauty of it is that we are forming a community that is not based on our different circumscriptions, but it's like an international community. Persons from different circumscriptions, persons with different languages, and sometimes even those who cannot communicate in your language, you still find yourself coming together and saying something to each other by sign or language or words.
The chapter has many components to it, and one of them is our prayer life. It's an integral part of being an Augustinian, and so the schedule has been very intentional in making sure that we come together in those very grace-filled moments. And so, you know, before we take our meals in the morning, we come together for morning prayer and Mass. Those prayers have been in many different languages. They've been accompanied by beautiful music from our Augustinian ministries around the world. We get into the business of our day, share a meal together, have some meetings, come back for midday prayer before lunch, which is an opportunity to just quietly reflect and center ourselves as we enter into the back half of the day. As we close up our meetings before we have dinner around 8 o'clock, we have Vespers, another opportunity to come together to pray the Psalms. We also pray collective intentions. They would be intentions for all the people that we serve, for the people who are suffering and struggling in any way. And so in many ways, we're in solidarity with all the people that we're working with back in our respective homes.
During these meetings, we certainly have business to take care of. And just as important is the time that we dedicate to prayer. And we have been able to, through technology, through communications, we've been able to include the friars, the sisters, our lay brothers and sisters throughout the world, throughout the order, the ones with whom we serve. We've been including them through video, through messages, through song, through prayers. It's been a wonderful opportunity to know that we're being prayed for during these 2 weeks of our chapter, and that we're praying with those people also.
We are not just a gathering of professionals. We are not a gathering of economists. We are a gathering of Augustinian friars and priests. And prayer is very, very fundamental, because it's at the base of the inspiration that we shall have if we must come out with something reasonable and fundamental from this intermediate general chapter.
One of our great theologians of the past, Tars van Bavel, used to say that the Augustinians are more at home in the refectory than they are in the chapel. And there's a certain truth to that. There's great value in our prayer, the moving in. But unless that's accompanied by a movement beyond, that I care for my brother, that I hear my brother, and that I understand my brother has great sense of mercy, compassion and love for me. So our meals are celebrations of this ideal of community.
St. Augustine even talks about inhospitality. The one giving is most often the one receiving, and the one receiving is most often the one giving. So for example, in the meals that we share, there are opportunities for us to kind of host each other at the table, to listen to what's going on in a casual way, listen to what's going on in different parts of the world, by not only feeding ourselves, but we feed each other. with our conversations. We've had a lot of fun. We went to out a little bit to a garage where we were able to kind of look around at some antique cars, some beautiful cars, and relax with each other while doing that.
What enhanced it, and it would have been great anyway, was the St. Augustine band, the jazz band, was playing the whole night up there. And I think they were excited. The boys were very excited to see the cars too. But it was just a great moment. And I wasn't certain how it would go over, because looking at old cars for some people is not a delight, but it was for that group. And to have the meal there, it was just a real great lot of fun and a real surprise.
Yeah, during meals, these were times to actually discuss with friars, because during our meetings, we do not have all that time to sit down one-on-one and have a discussion. Even the discussions we have been having during the meetings are tailored towards a particular direction. But during meals, we move out of those directions, and then we begin to talk with each other about collaboration, about the problems in his province, and then we put ideas together. And during meals, there have been beautiful times to discuss outside of the regular patterns set by the courier for discussion.
One of our favorite meals was the one where it was a German night, and it was German food and a German beer, but there was a German band. There's one big famous German band in San Diego, and we commissioned them to be the surprise. And they played for 2 hours, and it was just a great amount of fun. And our prior general was there for the whole night, and he was obviously enjoying it. We were singing and dancing, and it was just a great event, because the nourishment for us is in the meal, but it's also being nourished by one another. And sometimes having a kind of a fun surprise makes it even more special.
Well, dinner is a moment to share something with another brother, and it's a moment to talk about a lot of things. And as Augustine said, when we are together to eat, it is always the moment to share my life with another brother.
One of the core things that happens is not the discussions. They're always there. But about 70% of the business is actually conducted over meals, at the bar, in those informal discussions which go, what's really happening in your place? Oh, what can we do to work together? So that the sense of community that comes through isn't always there as we look at the hard issues, but then the reality of brotherhood really takes over in the time off.
The Augustinian spirituality is one of the key assets of our order. You could couple that with Pope Francis's call to synodality, to be reflective, to develop our interior life, to discover where the grace of God is around us, inspiring us and teaching all of us. And so we have an opportunity as Augustinians to really search for the truth together, to work in community and unity with one another, and ultimately to share our love and our charity with the people that God's called us to serve.
Yeah, one of the days we were able to dedicate at St. Augustine High School. It certainly was an opportunity for us to visit. We did a little bit of work also in the morning. Many of our friars come from circumscriptions where we have centers of education, of Augustinian education. So we always come with our open eyes, looking to see if we can kind of borrow ideas about how we can improve our Augustinian identity at these schools.
One thing which I find in St. Augustine's College, which interests me a lot, is the level of organization. I have looked at, even from the seats, from the hall, the direction on the wall leading to different departments of the school. This is something I would like to go back home with and then see how I incorporate it into our schools that are already in operation.
Schools here in the United States have taken on Unitas Caritas Veritas as their underpinning foundations. And for us to go back and to see, how do we establish community? How do we preach the truth of situations?
Well, you know it's an important day when Father Max is wearing shoes. Another 100 years without having to wear any shoes. Today we commemorate the centennial of our school. A centennial, one could also say, of 100 years of the Brotherhood. This is a day which we can truly give thanks and praise to God through the Eucharist, which every week has been celebrated at this school. Jesus Christ made present among us, Jesus Christ our brother, uniting his very self to our brotherhood. And it is this uniting by the Lord which makes our brotherhood the brotherhood.
It was a wonderful opportunity to gather with the students, with the faculty, with parents, to celebrate a community that has been together for 100 years, living the life of truth, unity, and love. There's a spirit in that school. There's faith in that school. And the signs and symbols and seals of St. Augustine are universal. And so as we come together from all the many respective provinces and parts of the world that we've come together in, we felt very much united on that day. And it was a great day of gratitude.
There was a great moment celebrating the kickoff of the 100th anniversary of St. Augustine High School. We were asked to gather around their largest building, and unbeknownst to me, the board of directors for St. Augustine High School had, as a tribute to the Augustinians, had commissioned an icon of our Mother of Good Counsel, honoring the Augustinians as 100 years in California, and I was thrilled.
The first thing that struck me was the unveiling of a beautiful mural. That mural of our Mother of Good Counsel, it was really beautiful, and the pride that the greater community had in having such a wonderful object there in their midst.
One of the core values for Augustine and for an Augustinian is community. And we all know, particularly in the world today, that feeling, that sense of isolation, when you feel like you're in it alone. And for Augustine, there's no stranger to an Augustinian. And we have an opportunity here to remind one another that we're in it together, that we share common burdens, common hopes and dreams, and a common God who watches over all of us. We share a common spirit that unites us as sisters and brothers, that inspires us when we don't have all the answers, when we feel like we can't get up, to find a helping hand along the way, a brother or a sister who can help us step out of the hole. And so this week has been another kind of reminder of that appreciation for community as we've come together for meals, for prayers, for social life, for meetings. Understanding, as Augustine would say, that each of us strengthens all of us.
Yeah, we certainly congratulate the province of St. Augustine here in California for their 100th anniversary of having friars here in California. It wasn't established as a province 100 years ago, and yet we realize it takes time for the development of the structures of the order to take place. Some of our friars are coming from lands and areas where we're very new in their country, in their city, in their region. And when they see that we now are celebrating 100 years of Augustinians in California, it gives them hope. It gives me hope for a future of our order, especially those areas where we're growing.
I cannot tell you what an absolute delight it was for our province to host all the other provinces, and for me especially, it was just a great treat. You know, we're having people thank us for hospitality. It couldn't equal our delight in having them come all the way to San Diego. And it's not a bad setting either. I grew up in San Diego, so I knew the Bay would be a place that we'd like to be. And, but it renews the spirit, renews the energy level, I think, of us as members, to know that we're not just, and never have been meant to be, a business. What we are is a brotherhood and a community, and hopefully, most of all, we have an understanding it's as community we serve the Lord and His church, and in this case, the church throughout the world.
Open up your golden gate, California, here I come. Come back anytime, we love Cali.
California, here I